Hey guys, it's Gaijin Hunter. We're roughly 3,000 hours away from the release of Monster Hunter Rise on Nintendo Switch on March 26, 2021. I realize that not everyone has Twitter, and the Monster Hunter Twitter accounts, both Japanese and English, have been sharing tons of interesting gameplay clips for the last 2 months. So I wanted to show sort of a compilation of all the ones that I found, just so you can see them in case you haven't, and I'll also give you my thoughts. Now, I am categorizing them just so they're easier to watch, so the next few minutes is going to be sort of extra B-roll footage of the Old Shrines map. So this is where I'm going to do primarily most of my talking, but I am going to give you my thoughts as I go through stuff. For better or worse, when they do these clips, they're not showing any background music, they're just doing sound effects. I think it's been really interesting when we get to the monster parts because we can hear what the monsters sound like. But for stuff like this one, I guess it would be nice to get some background music. Between everything we've seen with the reveal, Tokyo Game Show, and all these clips, I kind of feel like we're almost going to be, maybe end of this month or early next month, we'll get our second trailer. I kind of feel that they're going to show off the second locale. I think we've seen enough of the Old Shrines area. And a second map, I think just timing-wise for their marketing campaign would make a lot of sense. That being said, I can't wait to finally play this game because the Old Shrines map looks fantastic. It really does look like a wonderful area to learn how to use the wire bug. It's got tons of different monsters, places to climb. It looks great. I mean, what can we say? Now, I'm not going to cover it here in this video because I've actually done it in previous videos, but they've really been taking to the socials and explaining a lot of the endemic life here. Sort of like those little birds that give you buffs, all the different endemic lives that you can pick up and use. And I really like this idea that map exploration is actually going to be part of the gameplay and be fun. Because let's face it, Monster Hunter map exploration has never been fun. It's a chore. You're basically running to get to the monster, and generally it takes longer than it should. Where now it's going to be pretty fun. You can hop on your doggy and you can ride to it really fast, or you can use your wire bugs, go over a mountain, collect some buffs on the way, and then drop in on the monster and do some combat. So whether or not these micro buffs are actually going to be necessary or not, who knows? But it's going to be helpful. I mean, if you know the monster starts in, let's say, Area 6, then finding a route to get to Area 6 while collecting some small buffs for attack, or affinity or something like that, or some extra wire bugs, that's definitely going to play a role, and I can't wait to see what time attack speedrunners do. I think it's going to be fascinating to see them working out their optimal routes, sort of how to buff as they get their way to the monster. Now, a lot of you have asked me what my thoughts on when we might actually see a demo for this game, because Monster Hunter games generally do have a demo before release. I've put up some historical data before, but Monster Hunter World was kind of special because they had like these betas where people were able to like try it out a few months before release, where generally they only release a demo on Nintendo stuff like a week before it comes out or a few weeks before it comes out. I do feel that the demos for World were so successful that they might attempt to do something similar for this game, which makes me think that maybe, I don't know, mid-January we could see a demo, and then maybe a final demo come early March. That would be neat. But honestly speaking, with the pandemic, I'm sure development is already strained, so I wouldn't blame them if they put the demo off until last minute and they just focus on getting the game done on time. So those are my thoughts on that. So we've now left sort of the Old Shrine sort of footage that they shared on socials, and we're getting into some of the more juicier stuff. So I'm going to talk less so you can hear the monsters, but this is the camp menu. I love the Arzuro's hunting horn there and the armor for both the cat and the dog and the hunter. And now these are just extended clips from the trailers. So it shows a little few more seconds before and after of what we saw from the actual trailers. So nothing horribly new, but very interesting to see nonetheless. One thing to note, if you notice when they did the live gameplay at Tokyo Game Show, there was blood effects, and they can say that you can turn it on and off. They generally turn it off for marketing stuff. So stuff like official trailers or gameplay clips like this, you won't see blood because they're just trying to keep it more general, because some people don't like to see that, which is why that option is there in the game. Ooh. And here we're just seeing some really nice compilation of some Silkbind attacks. That's what they're calling these things. Silkbind, which I like. There seems to be several of them, and they, of course, did say in interviews that stuff like the wire bug won't be affected by armor skills. So I think they're figuring out a way to really balance it so that it's really fun and it gives you a lot of freedom, but doesn't break the gameplay. Okay, now we're going into monster gameplay footage. I'm going to shut up for these just so you can listen to the monster and the effects, but we're starting out with Arzuros. The next up is 2 clips of the Great Izuchi. We haven't seen a lot of this monster, but it fights together with 2 smaller Izuchi, sort of like a group of bandits, and they work with coordinated attacks. Here we get an extended look at the turf war between Tetranodon and Arzuros. These definitely look a lot more intricate than what we saw in Monster Hunter World, so I'm very interested to see the true mechanics of how this all plays out. And now we're just going to see a bunch of extra gameplay of Tetranodon, who I'm really liking. And here is some gameplay that we just got the other day of Acnosum. We've actually got some demo gameplay, but I just love the movements of this monster. This is going to be a good Monster Hunter game. Just the dance and the rhythm and the tempo between you and the monster looks absolutely sublime. So in this clip, they were actually showing off the wire fall, which is that sort of wire bug technique you can do to recover from a large knockback. It does, of course, take some gauge, but very interesting to see as the monster yeets the hunter all over the map. Okay, now we're leaving the monster section and we're going into hunter/companion gameplay. So this is just some extended clips from the trailers that we saw, just riding on the Palamutes, just using the wire bugs and stuff like that. And after this clip, we're going to go into, they actually showed off a preview of the character creation screen, and it's actually quite robust. I really like the background music, so I'm going to shut up for this part. If you ask me, that definitely sounds like Hideo Udatani, who is the composer who I really want to come back to do this one. He's the one who did some work on Monster Hunter Portable Third, but primarily focused and did his stuff on Monster Hunter Generations, and I love his music. I also like that all the different options that you have for character create are numerically defined, so it's going to be very easy to share different sort of character builds with other players. Here we're just seeing some clips of some endemic life. I love that you can pick them up and use them like items. That is actually a small monster, the Bomb Badger. Ugly little thing. And our favorite healing boy, the Escargo. Wonderfully named and a nice sound effect. Look at the smile on the hunter after he activates it. That is a happy hunter. And before we go into the final clips, which is showing off playing with your companions and then the armor sort of showcase for the armor for the village and the other three monsters that we've seen, they did have a lot of b-roll footage of just riding around on your Palamute, so I'll take the section to just note that while I think everyone's going to be taking a Palamute online, because you can take one companion, I'm definitely going to be bringing a Palico. I love Palicos. I love the Palamutes as well, don't get me wrong. Like in solo play, I'll use like one of each, but online, I definitely need to represent the felines and give them some love. So the Palamutes, you look really fun, and they look very convenient for being able to use items, to run around really fast without worrying about stamina. But I really want to get good at the wire bug, so I'm going to be using that with a Palico and sort of representing the felines. But look at just the gameplay. I mean, some people will say, oh, wow, there's some texture pop in. Like, who cares? It's a Monster Hunter game. The focus here is to be immersed in a beautiful, interesting, artistic world and to fight monsters. And that's exactly what we're going to be able to do in this game. So I'm ecstatic by everything we've seen. I can't believe this game runs on the Switch so well. Seriously, that Resident Evil engine is doing some serious magic when it comes to the Switch, because I've never seen games look this good. Fun clip of the hunters in the background zipping around on the wire bugs. That'll be me. Same thing at night with the nice little sparkle effects. And now they're just showing off that you can have 2 Palamutes or 2 Palicos or one of each. I am going to really enjoy making the armor for all these companions. So it's not just making the armor for your hunter, but making it for them as well. That is going to be super fun. So now we go into playing with your companions. This is the one playing with the dog. I am going to show the English clips afterwards, but the Japanese ones had the full screen 16:9, so I wanted to show those off. Look at that secret handshake. That's so great.
You're my best pal.
Oh, that's my pup.
Okay, to wrap things up, we have the armor showcase. This is the village starting armor, which looks really good. I mean, come on, for starting armor? I hope they have transmog in this game to use it. Let me know down in the comments below, are you going to be playing as a boy or a girl hunter? I always play as a girl hunter. Everyone's got their own preferences. No right answer. I'm just kind of curious, so let me know. Here's Tetradodon. Wait till you see the Palico weapon. It's a water gun. It's unbelievable. It's a chunky set. Look at that. Isn't that the greatest? This is the Great Izuchi. It's supposed to be themed off of something like a bandit. Very light and nimble. Very opposite of what we saw with Tetranodon set. This kind of reminds me of like the Quechawacha set. It's got this type of wild vibe to it. I really like the orange color. And finally, we have the Agnosom set, which I love as well. This is sort of, the motif here is origami with the paper folds. Yeah, and this just looks really good. All the weapons are looking fantastic as well. Like the unique designs are back. You couldn't ask for more. Anyways, this concludes all the clips that they've shared on Twitter up until date. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this fun recap, or if it's your first time seeing it. And until next time, happy hunting.